There was no drama at the finish line, no flailing, no dive, no desperate lean. Femke Bol didn't need any of it. She ran 51.95 in Monaco, clean, controlled, and alone. It was the fastest women's 400-meter hurdles time in the world this year. A meet record, another Diamond League victory. And yet what stood out most was how easy she made it look. No one was close, not on the backstretch, not over the final hurdle, not even in the replays. She crossed the line with no celebration, just a calm, quiet nod. Like a woman who didn't come to prove anything. She came to confirm it. For the past 3 years, Femke Bol has been chasing a ghost. Every time she stepped on the track, the same name hovered above the lane sheets, mclaughlin-levrone. Even when Sydney wasn't in the race, her presence lingered. Her times, her records, her legacy. Bol has won everything in sight. European titles, Diamond Leagues, World Championships. She's been dominant, consistent, nearly untouchable. But she's always been second, to someone who wasn't even there. That's what made this race different, because this time, the ghost didn't show up. And Bol didn't just win, she owned the moment. 51.95 isn't a world record. It's not even her personal best. But it was more than a number. It was a reminder that the 400-meter hurdles is still hers, until someone takes it back. And that someone? Everyone knows the name, Sydney mclaughlin-levrone. In 2022, Sydney redefined what was possible in this event. She ran 50.68, arguably the greatest single-lap hurdle performance in track history. She broke barriers no one had touched in decades. She didn't just beat Bol, she dismantled the field. Since then, Sydney shifted her focus. In 2023 and 2024, she began running the flat 400 meters and did it well. She clocked a 48.74 at the US Championships, one of the fastest times in history. But she skipped the hurdles. Then, in mid-2024, she announced she was coming back. And now, in 2025, the clock is ticking. Which makes Bol's 51.95 more than a performance. It's a message, not a threat, not a taunt, just a quiet, undeniable statement. If you're coming back, be ready. The Monaco Diamond League wasn't a showdown. It wasn't a head-to-head. But in a strange way, it felt like the beginning of something bigger. Because for the first time in 3 years, the crown doesn't feel claimed. It feels contested. And that might be the most exciting part. Every sport has that moment where two greats define an era, not just by clashing, but by elevating each other. For women's 400-meter hurdles, that moment was supposed to be Femke Bol versus Sydney mclaughlin-levrone. And in some ways, it was, but only for a heartbeat. Back in 2022, Sydney shattered the world record with 50.68, a performance that felt like it didn't belong to the same universe as anything else on the track. She turned a brutal, technical event into a victory lap. She didn't just beat Bol, she beat everyone in the world by almost 2 seconds. Bol was there. She ran the second fastest time of her life, and she still wasn't close. That race didn't just end the season, it ended the conversation. For the next 2 years, Sydney took a different path. She stepped away from the hurdles and toward new challenges. She entered the 400 meters. She ran a 48.74 at the US Championships, one of the fastest times of the last decade. She tested her speed. She reshaped her body. She focused on flat power and raw pace. And while all eyes followed her, Femke Bol kept going. She didn't talk. She didn't chase headlines, she just ran. She stacked Diamond League wins, 28 in a row now. She took European titles. She won gold at Worlds. She even broke the indoor 400-meter world record. But even as she built one of the most dominant resumes in modern track, the same question followed her. Could she ever beat Sydney? Not just in theory, not just on paper, on the track, head to head. Because until that happened, Bol's reign would always have an asterisk. Now, things are shifting. Sydney is back in the hurdles. The comeback is real. The calendar is set. And Bol just ran the fastest time of the year, more than a tenth faster than Sydney's season opener. Which means the rivalry isn't paused anymore. It's building. And here's the twist. This time, Bol has the momentum. She's sharper, she's confident. She owns the event right now. Every meet, every record, every medal. She's earned them without her rival. But that doesn't mean Sydney's done. It means when they meet again, it won't be a repeat of 2022. It'll be a test for both. Because mclaughlin-levrone didn't spend the last 2 years walking away. She spent them preparing. And Bol, she spent them building. This isn't a rivalry built on social media. It's not fueled by trash talk or theatrics. It's a rivalry built in split seconds, stride patterns, and silence. And the closer we get to Worlds, the clearer it becomes. The 400-meter hurdles doesn't belong to anyone until these two women settle it. To the casual fan, it's just a race. 10 hurdles, 1 lap, fastest woman wins. But the 400-meter hurdles is one of the most brutal tests in track and field. It's not just about speed. It's about timing, control, rhythm, and pain management. And no two athletes approach it the same way. That's what makes this rivalry so fascinating. Femke Bol and Sydney mclaughlin-levrone aren't just two of the best to ever run the event. They are two completely different machines built to solve the same problem. Bol is all about flow, long strides, minimal disruption. She doesn't overpower the hurdles. She melts through them. Her race is a symphony, smooth, technical, consistent. Her strength is rhythm. She holds her form deep into races where others fall apart. It's why she looks so composed, even in chaos. It's why her final 100 meters often looks easier than it is. She doesn't force the finish, she absorbs it. Sydney, on the other hand, is built for destruction. She attacks the hurdles like they've personally offended her. Shorter stride pattern, higher knee drive. Her power to ground contact is nearly unmatched in the sport. Where Bol flows, Sydney explodes. Every hurdle is a launch point. She doesn't just maintain her pace, she builds on it. And that's what made her 50.68 so terrifying. But here's the question. After 2 years focusing on flat sprints, sharpening her top-end speed and muscular endurance, will Sydney come back sharper in the hurdles? Or has the rhythm changed? Because the 400-meter hurdles isn't forgiving. You can't just jump back in. One misstep, one stutter, one wrong count, and the entire race unravels. Femke Bol has spent the last 2 seasons locked into this rhythm. She's fine-tuned her stride pattern, mastered her pacing. She's been racing this event on repeat, and it shows in how flawlessly she floats between barriers. Meanwhile, Sydney has been optimizing for power, for force, for flat aggression. So when they finally meet, probably at the World Championships, maybe even before, it won't just be a battle of speed. It'll be a clash of styles. One has the best time in history. One has the best time this year. One has the elegance of a technician. The other, the dominance of a generational athlete. And both of them believe they've evolved in the right direction. What makes it beautiful is that no one knows which one is right until they're side by side, 10 hurdles in front of them, and nothing but silence in the stadium. That's when we'll see who's been building for the moment and who is the moment. Right now, Femke Bol has everything that looks like dominance. The times, the trophies, the streak. She hasn't lost a 400-meter hurdles race on the Diamond League circuit in over 3 seasons. She's run faster than anyone else in 2025. And when she crosses the finish line, it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like a standard being reset. But Sydney mclaughlin-levrone still has something Bol doesn't. 50.68, a number so far ahead of the field, it hasn't even come under threat. And that's the paradox of this event right now. Femke owns the present. Sydney owns the record books. One is unbeatable in 2025. The other still holds the blueprint for perfection. Which begs the real question. Who controls the 400-meter hurdles now? In truth, no one. Not yet. Because everything has been building toward a collision that hasn't happened. Not since 2022. And that's why this season, the comeback, the chase, the World Championships, feels like a turning point. For Bol, this is the first time she enters the rivalry with momentum. Not as the underdog, not as the shadow to Sydney's spotlight, but as the woman setting the pace. Her 51.95 isn't just fast, it's a full second ahead of most of the world. For Sydney, this isn't just a return, it's a recalibration. She's stronger now, possibly faster, but the rhythm of the hurdles is different than the rhythm of the flat 400. She has to find that flow again. And she has to do it while Bol is operating at peak precision. What makes this moment so captivating is that both athletes have grown, but in different ways. Femke Bol has built an empire of rhythm, precision, and consistency. Sydney mclaughlin-levrone has built power, explosiveness, and the memory of near perfection. And now, they're heading toward the same finish line again. This rivalry doesn't need drama. It doesn't need trash talk. It doesn't even need a war of words. The real tension is in the silence, in the times, in the space between two champions who rarely race each other, but are always connected. Track and field doesn't get many rivalries like this. Two women, two styles, two stories that refuse to bend to each other. But only one gets to stand at the top. And if they both show up in Paris, if they both bring their best, we won't just be watching history, we'll be watching it change hands, one hurdle at a time.